All right, let's get started. Over the course of next few minutes, I intend to explain manifestation in the most comprehensive manner possible. Let's get started. Now, depending on which author or tutor or teacher that you're subscribing to, he'll have 100 different methods or ways about going about it. In my case, I have sequenced the steps as follows. E S I I R E. E for ego, S for source, I for intention, I for intuition, R for release, E for execution. Let's continue and understand this one by one. It is very important that we understand the difference between ego and the source. The source is the one that powers ego. Let's understand what ego is. Let's understand what ego is. Post which we'll get to source, and after that, we're going to get into intention, intuition, release, and execution. Sai is an ego. Rohit is an ego. Priya is an ego. Mukesh is an ego. Nikhil is an ego. Elon is an ego. Michael Phelps is an ego. Right? The fact that you are a developer is an ego. The fact of the ego that you are a salesperson is an ego. So you have tens or probably hundreds of types of ego, or let's just for precision call them elements of ego. Right? I will attempt to explain ego in as diverse as angles as possible, so that you get the complete picture of what I mean when I say ego. Ego is kind of an aggregate of the beliefs that you hold about yourself, about a particular area of life, about an industry, about a domain. Ego is an aggregation of your expectations for the timeline that is to unravel itself. Ego also contains, so when I'm saying ego is, understand that like every time I say ego, it is an element of the ego that I'm referring to. So let me rephrase going forward and use elements of ego. The dominant emotional patterns that you exhibit is part of your ego. The dominant beliefs that you hold, like I said earlier, is part of your ego. The dominant thoughts that you think about is is part of your ego. The dominant fears that you have in life or about anything is part of your ego. The amount of knowledge that you currently have access to is part of your ego. You identifying yourself as somebody who makes few tens of lakhs INR a month, or somebody who makes few hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, or somebody who makes none in a month, is part of your ego, is an element of your ego, right? So what everything that you accept to be true about yourself and about the world from your lens is, roughly speaking, parts of your ego, right? This is not you, but this is also you. So it's best that we call you as your ego, because that's just one layer, or hundreds of pieces aggregated, stitched together, and given an identity, given a mask, which for this conversation I'd like to call it as ego, right? Now, if you ask me about me, I would say, who am I? I would say I'm Sai. I'd say I'm 30 years old. Um, I'd say I am somebody who's curious about stuff. I'd say this is my particular income level. This is my particular upbringing, right? So, yeah, all of these things that you assume to be true about yourself is your ego. We'll do another video some other time about ego. But for now, you're getting the point. I'm assuming that you got the point. It's 7:23 minutes into the conversation. Let's go forward. Now, or let me look at my text that I've written a couple of days ago and speak from it. Do not expect extremely refined stuff here, but expect stuff that makes sense, or have no expectations at all. Yeah. Ego is a thing that you consider yourselves to be, the aggregate of all the experiences that you've experienced so far, the aggregate of memories that you have, the aggregate of dominant elements of identity that you have, the aggregate of dominant ambitions that you have, the aggregate of the dominant frustrations that you have, the aggregate of the dominant conflicts that you have in your head, in your heart, and in your body. You as a marketer, you as a developer, you as a social worker, your ego is, in a manner of speaking, the sum of beliefs that you hold to be true. Your ego is the sum of dominant emotions that it experiences. Your attachment to the physical stature of your body, your attachment to identification with your social status, the aggregate of your personal history that you remember, the aggregate of the string of beliefs that you hold to be true about yourself, the aggregate of what is possible and what is not possible, the aggregate of the beliefs that you have about particular area, discipline, industry, person, community, subject, anything. Now, 9 minutes and 33 seconds and more into the video. Let's move forward. Now the mask is the ego. Let's get to the source. The source. If you remove everything that I say one by one, Remove your memories, remove your expectations for tomorrow, remove your ambitions, remove your trauma, remove your childhood memories, remove your ambitions, the things that you dearly hold on to, remove the things that you absolutely hate, remove the things that you absolutely love. Remove every single memory that you have had, remove every single desire that you had, remove every single feeling that you've ever experienced, and remove all the expectations for the coming year, coming month, coming decade, and also delete the past. Who will you be? Right now, let's do this. 11 minutes into the conversation, let's do this exercise on understanding the source. I'll do it with you. I close my eyes. I can hear the sound of crickets or some sort of insects. I, the ego, or I, the source. Anyways, I can feel some light on my eyes. I can feel the pressure of the sofa on my legs and the back. I can feel the air. I can feel the quality of the air. Now, when all of this is happening, I'm just that pure awareness that is detecting the stuff around, right? Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, touch, and the functions. Yeah, I jumble them together, jumble them a little bit, but yeah, you you are that awareness that is perceiving reality, and with a mask of your ego, right? Anyways, let's go back to doing the previous mental exercise. If you strip away all the memories, everything that you've seen, everything that you've smelled, and desires, everything from the past, everything from the future, you delete all of them, you will still be there. You will still be there when somebody pinches you. You'll still be there when somebody kisses you. You'll still be there when somebody slaps you, right? Anyways, the source puts on these masks called Sai, Rohit, Priya, Julian, Katie, Madonna, Jonathan. The awareness slash source slash consciousness comes into worlds, experiences a bit of reality. As when you're a child, imagine the times when you were a child, recall the times when you were a child, experiences a bunch of reality and feeds itself this external reality, and it becomes something. Now, in reincarnations and previous incarnations, let's put that aside for a moment. I'm not neither saying it's true or not, but yeah, let's if you take a child, a baby, there are a bunch of experiences that define what the baby is, and vice versa, most likely. Right? Now, it's a blank slate to start with. And then it grows. The baby grows, experiences a bunch of reality, creates a bunch of ambitions, goes through a bunch of trauma, releases that trauma. Anyways, it's the source wearing the masks. We have cleared ego, and we are now at the source, and it's 15 minutes and 24 seconds. Let me articulate about the source in a little more better manner. The same awareness, I'm going to read from the text that I've written a couple of days ago, and then I'm going to explain. You, yeah. Now, if you strip yourself from all the beliefs, all the memories, all of these identifications, and all of these ambitions, all of this trauma, all of this distress, all of these memories, all of these identities as a marketer, employee, housewife, husband, and a daughter, a son, a mother, a father, a teacher, as whatever that is, if you strip away all those labels and all of those identifications that you have about yourself, who the who are you? You are that awareness. The same awareness that you have judgments about, the same awareness that you are loving, the same awareness that you're lusting, the same awareness that you're chasing, the same awareness that you are appreciating, the same awareness that you are after saying nobody's, the same awareness that you are reluctant to interact with, the same awareness that you deeply not like, and the same awareness that you deeply like. You're getting it right here. The source. You are the one who has been expressing yourselves in 800 crores different forms and beyond. 800 crores different forms and beyond. So that you can chill out. You are looking at yourself in the form of a plant, in the form of a human, a fellow creature, a fellow species, a fellow world, a fellow structure, or whatever that is. It's all you. You need to understand this variant of you in a very detailed manner. Right. Now, if every single piece of biological life, let's just park non-biological life for a moment. We'll get to it later on if need be. Every single the being, let's even lock it a little more and confine to humans only, even though it very much applies to other beings depending on our level of consciousness, vibration, awareness, whatever you will call it. Right. So the boss that needs to give you the promotion is the same awareness. The larger founder that needs to acquire a company is the same awareness. The government officials that need to sign your contracts is the same awareness. The student that you are teaching to, that you're teaching, is the same awareness. The dog that you're petting is the same awareness. The girl that you're in love with is the same awareness. The person on with whom you are on a sales call with is the same awareness. The procurement professional with whom you're interacting to procure construction material for building your building is the same awareness. The opponent in the soccer game, all the team members of the opposing team in a soccer game is the same awareness. So it's all one. It's the awareness wearing masks, 800 crore plus masks, and just playing around. For you to understand the dynamics of how manifestation works, you need to understand these two elements. If you're coming from a place of ego, that too are not so aware and non-conflicting ego, and not coming from a place of source or understanding of the fact that it's all the source that's just playing, wearing a bunch of masks, it's going to be much difficult for you to manifest what you need to manifest. Right. So at a fundamental level, it's all one. And yeah, so we've completed E. Yes, the ego. Source. Yes, we did talk about source. ES is done. And intention and intuition is the next thing that we're going to look at. But before we dive deep into intention and intuition, what's the point of knowing it all? I mean, it's good to know it has implications and applications in every single area of life. After all, this is who you've always been. You just forgot who you are. And it's a reminder as to you are the source, just like how 800 crore plus sources. No, it's just one source. Yeah. But, it feels good to strip away your ego. No, not strip away, but, understand the source that's powering the ego, and not and acknowledge the beauty of reality, that it's just you that's everywhere. Yeah, it's good. But this is a video about reality creation slash manifestation slash goal accomplishment. So let's stick to that for now. Ego, done. Source, done. ESIIRE. Now, before we do ESIIRE, you can say desire altogether without a D. Yeah. Let's take an example of a goal and an ego. Right. Now, let's say I am slightly changing the details of the ego here. Let's say there is a designer or a service provider who offers professional services, is currently working with. So pay attention to this, because this is where application starts, even though the previous section is a lot more important than what I'm going to tell right now. A service provider, I am from India, and the numbers that I'm going to use are going to be primarily in INR. I might drop in the USD equivalent, adjusted USD equivalent for those numbers, or some random numbers. Please deal with it. Or I might use some other currency. Anyways, let's say there is one ego that identifies itself as the ego and not the source. Identifies a lot with the ego. Anyways, let me keep the wording simple. Let's just say there's an individual who's doing 1.5 or 2 lakhs INR in monthly revenue, with margins of 95%, since it's a one person company slash he's a solopreneur, he's doing and he's offering his services. Now he wants to go from this place to another place where he's doing like 10 lakhs a month or 15 lakhs a month in revenue with profit margins of 80 or 70% post tax. Now, this is the goal. The category of the goal is business, career, and money. Now, let's understand how do we go from what we have just stated, which is 2 lakhs per month INR to 8 lakhs a month INR in net profits. Right? Now, there are two ways to go about this. Way one is the ego intensive, mind intensive way of going about it. You are at 2 lakhs right now and you create some plan like this. Okay, this I need to get 3 more clients. For that I need to reach out to more people. You do all the logic, standard marketing and sales stuff, or you might not even do that, right? Anyways, method one is brain intensive, effort intensive, force intensive method. I am not denying that I'm not saying that it doesn't work. I am just saying that there's a better way. Anyways, let's look at the way. Let me get back to my notes and the individual is doing 1.5 to 2 lakhs a month by offering professional services to clients, and he's pretty much a solopreneur, strictly a solopreneur or a freelancer. Desired reality to do 8 lakhs in monthly profits post tax. The standard equation is to think from the current ego, which includes the mental models, the beliefs around the goal, the beliefs around the possibility and the difficulty of accomplishing the goal, which is 8 lakhs INR in monthly profits, the assumptions that he has about achieving that reality, the intensity of the assumptions, the possibility of the current ego. According to the current ego, what's the possibility of the goal being accomplished? The current approach of going about the goal would be to think from the current ego, which is comfortable operating as a solopreneur. To think and plan from the current ego, which is comfortable operating with the current numbers, which are 1.5 to 2 lakhs a month INR. You can, for conversion, just assume, doesn't matter, 10,000 USD per month to 20,000 USD per month in monthly profits or earnings. To think and attempt to execute from the current ego, which perceives the task to be uncertain, difficult, something that is in conflict with the current ego. To think and execute from the current ego, whose identity could potentially be at risk of evaporating. To think and, let me repeat that again, to think and execute from the current ego, whose identity could potentially be at risk of dying. Let's just assume that you've crossed the planning stage and the execution stage. Since your current ego, whose existence is at stake, is going to do some sort of stuff that's going to sabotage the entire plan and execution of you moving from the current reality to the desired reality. When you are thinking and planning to get to the desired reality from the current ego state. Your current ego will come in and want to restrict the movement from your current reality to the desired reality, because the current ego is comfortable and familiar with the current reality. The moment you move from the current reality to the desired reality, it also means that the current ego that is very much comfortable with its current reality will have to let it go. Let go of itself. Now, there is thinking and planning from this current ego state. There is execution from this stage, and there is, last moment sabotaging from this stage. Now, even though you have defined your desired reality, the current ego will sabotage at the thinking and planning level itself. It will not allow you to think. It will not want you to think, because thinking means the possibility of you, like thinking and planning means there is a possibility of you executing. And if there is a possibility of executing, you are going to be in a different reality, right? So it's going to do if its safety is not assured, or if it's not, feeling safe and comfortable with and clear about where it is going, and if the associations, like let's say if you were saying that 8 lakhs a month is what it is that you want to do, but if it knows, right, more like if there is a past programming that more money means more problems, more money means more tensions, more money means you're a bad person, more money means you're not going to have time for family and your loved ones, more money means all of these things, right? So the current ego, you've set a goal, you've set the goal consciously, right? Not you also have to dive into your subconscious and look into it. What is its interpretation of the goal that you've set? That's very important. Anyways, ego, source, intention, intuition, release, and execution. We are at before we go to intention and intuition step, we are taking an example. So the current ego will want to sabotage everything, every single idea that you have. Even though you're done with planning, you are to execute. It'll make you not execute. It will stop you from executing stuff. And even if you have executed stuff, at the last moment, it'll just screw something up to ruin everything that you have worked for. So so now your question could be like, how about the things who don't even utter the word manifestation or like law of attraction or anything like that? My assumption is because the law is always working. They're just clear in terms of the implications of what it's going to mean for them if they achieve a goal, and like some or the other way they are clear, and then there is no opposition from the subconscious for them. Anyways, so if you're like the standard equation, the standard way of going about goal accomplishment, which is to think logically, push yourself, put a lot of effort, keep moving, keep hustling, find a way and just do it, right? And it will like, even if you're accomplishing it, it will feel like it's through force. You're pushing, you're exerting a lot of will. You are doing it. You're not in a state where it's happening. I'm not asking you to not to work. I'm talking about two different states. One is where you are doing it. You have to put in a lot of effort. You have to like do this, the hustler mode. right? You can absolutely go about it. Again, this is not black and white. It's more like 10 shades in the black, 10 shades in the white, or there's a spectrum, and these are all shades. Somebody who, I'm not taking examples here, but somebody who's hardcore effort will they'll just put themselves through hell and just get stuff done. Stuff will get done like that also. Stuff will get done like this also. Like what? Effortless intent, intuition driven, guided by intention, or driven by intuition and intention. Like this also you can get stuff done. Like that also you can get stuff done. But what's the difference? Why can't I just keep doing the way that I do? I'd say it's more fun to do it the other way. And if you choose to hustle and enjoy the emotions that you go through when you're putting in a lot of effort, and like, I've worked for it so much, Villa mode, feel free to do it. Enjoy it. Anyways, so one way is you push, and yeah, that's one way. The second way is set an intention, be guided by intuition, flow, jump into the desired reality. Yeah. Now, what's intention? See, if you just go back to the previous stuff that we have spoken about, we were we spoke about ego and the source, and all 800 crore people is the same source, just the masks of ego. The person whom you're selling to is the source. The person who is selling is also the source. The person who's giving the contract is also the source. The person who's taking the source, taking the contract is also the source. It's all the source playing around, right? Now, when you tap into that space, when you identify yourself from that space, easier said than that. You will have to be conscious, or maybe you can instantly do it. You just understand this perspective and then tap into the source. Yeah. So intention, right? Now, when it's all like, no movement can happen without the source. It's the source everywhere, just with a lot of masks, right? When you connect it to the source, how do you connect to the source? Just understand this perspective, and that should be enough. You don't have to meditate and all that. If you'd like to take this perspective and meditate and mix both and meditate on the idea itself, feel free to do it. But yeah, not just intellectually understand it, but like feel it when you're talking to another person. Know and like build that frame, or submit to that frame that it's just you interacting with you, and don't go mad doing that. Yeah, be sane and like have this ego as well. Yeah. And everything that is there is you, right? So when you set an intention, to let's give me an example. I intend to make 10 lakhs INR a month, or 8 lakhs INR a month, right? You don't think a lot when you're taking this kind of an approach. It's more of a, intention setting, intuition driven approach. Few people might call it a feminine way of going about things. Another one is the masculine way about going about things. But yeah, you call whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter. Or maybe it does. Does it? Anyways. So you set an intention. Intention is to, roughly, again, there are hundreds of different ways probably of setting an intention. But roughly, you decide what is it that you want. Let's say, I intend to make 10 lakhs INR in monthly profits next month. And live in that space for a moment. And just take guided action, drop your ego, just start Like, feel the intuition and just start taking action. If you look at a bunch of folks from the spiritual space, irrespective of traditions, you might find them saying stuff like, I was not writing the book wrote itself, I was just being the medium and all that. Or I was not doing the work, it's just happening, right? So it's you set an intention, you align with that intention, and you just become a vessel to for that goal to be accomplished or intention to be realized, right? So, and you will, I'm sure you'll find this kind of stuff like, I don't know how it happened, it just happened, right? Not necessarily from the spiritual, space, but also probably from the business space or sports space. I'm sure you'll find stuff like that. Yeah. So, that's about intention. And then you set an intention, you go goal slash intention. But when you're saying intention, you are acknowledging the fact that, like, I intend to jump into this reality, right? You're not setting a goal and taking all the effort wala approach, right? You just, I intend. It comes from a place of not narcissistic authority, but a place of subtle authority. Not subtle authority, like probably OG authority, right? I intend. How it's going to happen? It'll just happen. How? You submit to intuition and it'll happen, right? Right. Now, intention, you need a little bit of understanding about how do you set an intention, what intention means. Intention, you can say for this speech, you may assume it to be a goal, and I intend, and then you just submit and sync. Be aware of the fact that it's the source playing around, and if it's just the source and you are also the source, that's just putting a mask and playing around. If you drop the mask, you become the source and you're more connected to the source that is feeling all the 800 crores masks. And intention will be the governing force that's going to drive the action, because it's, again, like, let's say your goal is 8 lakhs INR, or $80,000 a month or $40,000 a month in net profits after tax, let's say. And how is it going to happen? You are not a bank, so you can't print your own money. That means somebody has to give you money, right? It might be through an order from a client, or you need to more B2B. You need more customers who buy a product or service. It could be B2B clients, it could be B2C clients, or it could be somebody investing in your startup, and you could be anything, right? But when you connect, when you acknowledge the fact that when you connect more to the source, you access 800 crore individuals that are powered by the source. And when you acknowledge that it's you, acknowledge the you, let me take a moment to acknowledge the us in you, or the me in you, and the me, you and me. Thank you. Anyways, so yeah, so intention, the reason for which ego and source were defined earlier is, and we've also taken an example of a goal. Yeah, you set an intent, it's just you playing around with you, right? So you set an intent, you drop the ego and start taking action. It will somehow unfold. Not somehow, it'll get unfolded and you will jump into the reality. You have to be conscious of the conflicts. Anyways, intention, ES, ego, source, done. I, done. Intention, intuition. Feel free to ask questions. If you have any, drop the questions in the comments or DM me or do whatever, right? Release and execute. Now, when you're setting goals, you've got to look into what the goals mean for your subconscious. For example, you could be saying that you want to make 10 lakhs a month, but what does it mean to the subconscious? If you have associations like money is bad, if you're rich everybody will come after you, like robbers will come steal your money, and people will consider yourselves as a bad person, consider you as a bad person. People will you will lose your friends, and you will not be, something as simple as you living at a particular place right now, and your subconscious will interpret as more money means, if more money means leaving the place that you are living at right now, and it would want to restrict. So you got to make it absolutely clear for the like what it means to the subconscious. When you're setting a goal, you got to dive in and look into these things, like goal, and what the subconscious is assuming to be true if the goal comes true. If no, not if, when the goal comes true, right? You also have to acknowledge that current ego has to be slightly molded for it to jump into that space. So anyways, you've got to remove the fears, right? Two things you'll have to release. One is if there are intense emotional experiences around any category of life, or any around in any category of life, or anywhere where it is associated with your goal, you'll have to go back, do whatever you do, reframing, you do release spiritual techniques, you do psychology driven techniques, do whatever techniques, just clear off that, go back. Like one thing you could do immediately is go back into that, go back to that experience, access that memory, feel the exact moment, don't think the exact moment, jump into that moment where you've experienced that traumatic experience, and a part of you is still stuck there. You've got to release that, use whatever method you want to use. Yeah, release, let that be free. That is one way, and very important actually. You can say a part of your spirit is blocked, your part of your, there is emotional energetic blocks in your body. You call whatever you want to call, or maybe they're different things, but the idea, you're getting the idea, right? It's got to be lightweight, yeah, like a feather. Once that is done, release is done, you just execute. Intention, intuition, execute. How many minutes do I have? 47 minutes, 27 seconds is where we are at right now. What do we do now? We've got like few minutes, let's just say, to hit 50 minutes. What do we do? So yeah, you can so I'll quickly drop a bunch of perspectives. Be in the state of wish fulfilled, right? One is you think from the ego and put a lot of push effort and go there, or be in the state of wish fulfilled. That's another path where you put yourself or assume the identity of where the wish is fulfilled. One is put yourself in instances where the wish is fulfilled and intensify that space, vibrational space in your body. Yeah, intensify that vibrational space in your vibrational space, and let ideas be planted, let execution be injected, and movement be happened. What? Yeah, let movement happen and you jump into the reality. That's one way. Another one is you set an intention, go by the awareness of this perspective that I just gave about ego and source, and jump. That's pretty much it. But yeah, absence of conflict is very, very important. And finally, I'd like to drop one very important thing. See, even if you know how do you teleport, or how do you jump into a reality, if you're not clear in terms of what is it that you love, what is it that you dislike, what is it that you like, what is it that you love, if you end up jumping to, or moving to random places that you just felt at a superficial level, you're going to have a tough time. So it's better you become absolutely clear in terms of what is it that you want, and yeah, be clear and let it be coming from the heart, whatever it is that you want. Yeah, See you in the next video. You must have noticed this, yeah? This, yeah? Anyways, see you in the next video. Thank you very much from this mask that was created by the source to that mask that's created by the source, from source to source. Good day. See you soon. Let me know if you'd like to hear from me on allied topics or drop your questions. And if I hit the 50 subscriber mark, I'll go live. If you'd like to contribute to that, please do it. And if you'd like to get in touch with me and get on calls with me, drop me a text or email me at, you'll find the link somewhere below. Yeah. See you soon. Choo. Where's my remote? Where's my remote?